So as far as injuries go, Clyde got twisted up into the splits. Right now the x-rays are negative, but we'll just evaluate them as we go. Emmanuel Smith tweaked his hamstring. So that's kind of where we're at right now. The guys that didn't play, I think you know about Rimmers with the stinger and or the back pain, you know, that whole deal. And then Darwin Thompson was ill, so and then Damian Wilson with the knee contusion. So I thought all in all, this is a good football team that we played. We had ups and downs. We had opportunities. You know, there were things where we were just off a tick or, on the offensive side. Defensively, I thought we played good football. The last drive, I'd exclude that for, we'd probably like to have a couple of those back. But I just felt like, all in all, we started the game fast defensively, and I thought we just bared down on them, and that was impressive, and it carried through really for the 3 quarters and most of the fourth. So I had asked the guys, talk to them just about the four good quarters of football, and when you're playing one of the top defenses in the league offensively, you got to bear down. Everything's not going to be pretty, and so you got to stay with it, trust each other, and go. So I thought we did nice there. Special teams, with the exception of D-Rob's fumble, I thought we did some good things. I mean, he has some good snaps on the offensive side, but probably shouldn't have handled that one right there. So 10 seconds left. So other than that, again, we keep moving. So try to keep moving forward, try to keep getting better as we go. And the bottom line is we won the football game against a good football team. Shawn does a heck of a job here. Time's yours.
Let's go first to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy, you may have just referenced this when you kept saying bear down, but you guys are sort of famous for speed and talent and all those things. But I'm just wondering if that toughness that maybe we don't talk about enough, if you needed that to win this particular game.
Yeah, I think so. I felt like that. Just a resiliency, I guess, a mental toughness, and where things just weren't going, whether it was drops or we weren't quite able. We had guys open down the field. We weren't quite able to get to them, and we got linemen playing in different spots and all those things, and not excuses. There's no excuses with it, but there's a point where you just have to bear down, and things are going to happen, and you got to go. And so I thought the guys did a heck of a job of that. They didn't let it bog them down mentally. If they got beat, they got back on the horse and kept going, tried it again. So I appreciated that part, the fight there.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, you were talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire a minute ago. Just wanted to see exactly what the injury was.
Well, he got stretched. I think you probably saw that where he did the splits, and his leg is sore. Both legs are kind of sore, but he's going in evaluation right now. He already got the X-rays done, and those were negative.
Go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach, you obviously had to shuffle up the offensive line for this game. I'm curious. I realize you also want to take a look at the tape before you give an evaluation, but from where you were standing on the sideline, how do you think they did? How do you think they held up?
Well, I mean, listen, we scored points and against a good defensive front. I mean, you're talking about one of the best defensive front, if not the best, right there. So statistically, and I thought we ran the ball efficiently, especially the second half, and we threw the ball well, and with the exception of a couple of blitzes they had, they got us on the one at the end there, but we were pretty clean for the most part. There were a couple where they got the quarterback, but fairly clean.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach. Perfect record on the road this season. I know there's no fans in the stands, but still it's hard to go on the road in the NFL and win. What's to say about your team to go perfect on the road this year?
Yeah, listen, I'm proud of them for that. It's different when you're on the road. It's unfamiliar territory, so you go on the road, you still got to crank it up and rally things. And they had a couple people here, but not many. There was probably as much red as there was the black and gold there. So, I thought the guys did a good job.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Andy, just wanted to ask you about drives from the offense when the opponent scores. It seems like that's when you guys are at your best. Obviously, you went 4 for 4 in the red zone to start. Just what do you think makes the difference when you guys respond to a team after they've already scored?
Yeah, Nate, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that. I probably call better plays or something, give them better opportunities. So I don't know that. I can't tell you that. I just the way they function with in urgent situations is unique and really doesn't have anything to do with me or anybody else. It's how they go.
Let's go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Andy. I know you'd probably rather have a little more buffer at the end of these games than you have, but now it's 6 wins, last 6 wins by 23 points. At what point do you start feeling like that's a habit and even a sort of a strength that you're developing to be able to close out games?
I don't know. I mean, you're not trying to do it for sure, and but you figured this one would be close. I mean, it's a good football team, so they're coming off a loss, and so you knew you were going to get their best shot. Like we have with most of the teams that have played us. I mean, they've bared down and given us what they've got. So I'm proud of our guys for staying mentally strong and working through everything.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Pete and then Sam. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach, congrats on the winning game plan. It had seemed, at least from watching, that this Saints team brought a little bit more physicality than even the average. I understand football is a physical sport, but they were really, really physical today. How did you feel like the offense handled it, and what can this game maybe do for you moving forward into the playoffs?
Yeah, listen, I thought they were real physical too. I agree with you on that. They're backs to the wall, so they know that. You got two teams that need to win football games right now, and but I thought our guys bowed up and did a nice job. I mean, to be able to run the football like we did and throw the ball like we did. And, we had a couple more opportunities that we let get by us. So I thought the guys did a nice job with that.
We'll go last, Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about sort of red zone issues. Tonight, you scored 4 touchdowns on your first 4 possessions. Was there something specific that you emphasize in practice? Is it just the way it's worked out this week? I mean, what do we sort of attribute that to?
Yeah, I mean, things worked, I guess, in the simplest form. And, we were able to capitalize on it. I wish we would have gotten a touchdown the last one, but it worked out the ones before, and I thought the guys did a nice job with execution, and Pat made some real nice plays, and I thought the O-line controlled the line of scrimmage down there very well.
Coach, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Yep.
Big Red from the podium. Tough win over the New Orleans Saints, 32-29. We'll talk about this later in the show, but to go 8-0 on the road, but what you look at who they've beaten on the road, they have the most impressive road wins of any team in the National Football League. That's the Kansas City Chiefs. But I want to start on the defensive side of the ball. Drew Brees, one of the most accurate quarterbacks, the most accurate quarterback in many stats in NFL history. 1 of 11 on third downs in this game. 7 3-and-outs for the Saints offense. What did the Chiefs do defensively to set the tone for this game early with all those 3-and-outs early?
I think Coach Spags did a great job of knowing who he was going against, and he had knowledge of Drew Brees' strengths, his weaknesses, and I think what we did is we went and challenged all their receivers. You saw our secondary was up on the ball, rerouting guys at the line of scrimmage. We weren't scared of anybody's vertical speed. We wanted to make sure that if Drew was going to fit a ball in there, it was going to be a tight window. And with that, you saw starting off the game, I think 0 for 7. First time in his career, that many incompletes to start off a game. He just couldn't find his rhythm. And our front 7 was definitely stunning and stopping and really taking the charge out the running game too. So I think our defense allowed our offense to kind of just be free to do what we wanted to do on offense. And so it seems like our offense wanted to really keep it open, keep it flowing. You know, Pat with the passing game, even though they was going a too high safety style defense, you think that means check to the run. I kind of feel like it seems like our offense, Bieniemy, Coach Reid, they wanted to see some things. They wanted to let our offense run and see some things. And I'm so glad our defense was able to really like kind of keep our foot on the Saints and allow our offense to run some plays.
To me, the biggest factor was keeping Alvin Kamara contained.
Yes.
He's such a beast in the receiving game. There's nobody that has better yards after catch in the league, particularly in the receiving game, and he never really got going. Chunk, chunk, chunk. He had a few in there, but the defense did a terrific job on Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, and then when Drew Brees, even when he did release the ball, you know, one of the early throws, it was almost a pick by Dirty Dan, right? Dirty Dan got his hands on it. Brashard, I don't know if he's going to get a PBU for breaking up an interception from his own guy, but Brashard broke that pass up, and then later on, L'Jarius Sneed ended up getting that interception. So I think, you know, until halftime, man, I think Drew was really off his game. He was kind of late behind the throws. He was rainbowing a bunch of throws. I just don't think the arm strength and the vision and everything that he's used to having, the anticipating of routes, I don't think he's where he was before he got hurt.
Yeah, well, punctured lung and all those broken ribs. But the other side of this, to me, is the Chiefs' offensive line. Andrew Wiley started at right tackle. He's had 33 starts prior to today, all at guard. 8 of those at left guard. Most of the others, well, 24 left at right guard. Never at right tackle. He played right tackle at Eastern Michigan his senior year. And then Wisniewski hadn't played really at all this year. He played in one appearance with the Steelers, but that was just a few placement snaps. Those guys had to play all day against a brutish front for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Hendrickson and Jordan Cameron. Those two guys collectively, I mean, they can give tackles nightmares. And when you're reshuffling the deck, the communication between guys, knowing the depth of the quarterback, all those things are you know, when it's game speed and you see those guys with this hard, wide 9 up the field charge, it kind of gets you on your skates sometime. Our offensive line, I think our offensive line and our backs and the tight ends, they did a great job of trying to really help the tackles, contain those defensive ends as much as possible. And then Pat was Pat. He was very magical. He was creative. Man, I just keep in my mind, every time I close my eyes, I think about the scramble, step up, 30-yard pass he makes to Sammy Watkins for that big first down in the first half. Those kind of plays, it puts a defense on his heels. And I think the Saints defense was pretty much playing uphill the entire game.
Yeah. And the throw to Hardman, the 5-yarder that regained the lead for the Chiefs. Incredible throw in the red zone. We talk about tight windows. That wasn't even a window. That was a crack in like the sheetrock or something. And a great play by McCole Hardman. I think maybe his best play yet on a 5-yard touchdown pass to make that in such a tight window. But to run the ball in the third quarter. And that set up this where the Chiefs were able to get some red zone touchdowns. That was a heck of a play because they moved around Tyreek Hill, and the Saints still couldn't find him. So excellent scheme and excellent route run there. But that throw to Hardman was big. There's the quick one. They just got the Saints off guard on that one with that shovel pass play. But the play to Hardman, to me, was a big-time play by both Mahomes and McCole.
Yeah, McCole shows that he's willing to work. He continues to work throughout the play. He never gives up on the play. And his job is to find that back line in the end zone and work it. And Pat saw him, and he throws it. It's a blind throw. He's blindly throwing it to an empty area, and McCole makes a great catch, and he gets his toe tap to make sure it's good. So all game long, we see Lev scoring here close to the end of the game to kind of cap things off with Pat with the nice little option and release. Lev Bell, it's good to see that young man being here in the kingdom and getting a score.
Was it ever? Because people go, why'd they sign Bell? Just show him this game. But the running the ball in the third quarter, we talked about this on the radio broadcast, seemed to change the game back to the Chiefs' favor.
Yes.
This was ebb and flow. We mentioned all these things to get them started. Then 15 unanswered points by the Saints. But to run the ball, 115 yards in the second half, they had 13 rushing first downs in this game. They even ran an ISO lead. Did you see that? They ran an ISO lead. I about flipped out on the radio. But the fact that they ran the ball in the third quarter seemed to flip the game back in their favor.
Because it keeps the play drive going, keeps the possession. And what you hate for a team when you feel like the Saints go up 15-14, that's the first lead of the game. At that point, what are you going to do? You're going to panic, you'll start chucking the ball downfield, or you're going to repossess the control of the game. That's when the running game really take control of the game, and it shows everybody that you have faith in the running game. We knew Clyde Hilaire was going to be an awesome downhill runner. He kept them Pistons just kept moving the pile, and then when Lev Bell used his patience, him and Williams both are great additions to Clyde Hilaire.
9 first down on third down conversions, 9 of 18. The Saints again were 1 of 11. You could just point to that stat and go, the Chiefs are going to win this game. They did so in a tough game, 32-29. Again, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you heard Coach Reid talk about it. Don't want to speculate. The X-rays were negative. That gives you hope here a little bit, but you never know until the next day, really, look at an MRI. But hopefully Clyde will be okay, but that was very awkward, and he was in a lot of hurt and coming off that field.
Yeah, young man, but he's young, he's athletic, he's got those young muscles, man. He'll bounce back. Whatever it is, we know, Rick Burkholder is one of the best trainers, is one of the greatest staffs in the league, and they'll take care of him and make sure that he'll be back on the field as soon as possible.
Again, we're waiting some folks to join us from the New Orleans, from the Superdome. The other thing is special teams in this game was a real struggle. Man, the Saints special teams, that might be the best gunner play I've seen all year long because McColl couldn't get anything going in the punt game, and then the safety, these gunners were tough for the Saints.
Yeah, they were smothering as far as the gunners, but then the punt coverage in general, we heard they were one of the top units as far as covering the field, and then when we put D-Rob back there, like Coach Andy Reid said, it was probably just not a smart play to even field it. At that point,
I can't really.
With a few seconds left before half, it probably been just as good just to let the ball bounce out and let's make it to halftime and not give up that extra 2 points on that safety.
All right, let's check back in now from New Orleans as we've got a special guest here. And we do have the man of the hour. So excited when we signed Le'Veon Bell, because I'd call too many play-by-play of you, man, in the gold and black. You drive, and now you're a good guy. You're on our side. Congratulations on the victory, man, and some tough running. Walk us through that sprint option touchdown. I said on the air it was Texas Tech going back to Michigan State. What about that play, Lev?
Yeah, that play was special. It got caught in the huddle, obviously. It's a play that we like. And once I kind of seen, Patty kind of split the DN, in my head, I'm just kind of thinking like Patty can low-key pitch this ball anywhere down the field, so I'm going to just keep running with him. He found me later on down the field, and I literally had a walk-in. Everybody executed their jobs perfectly, and probably one of the easiest touchdowns of my career.
Yeah, you talk about keeping that good pitch phase. I know about that option.
Right.
You stay in that pitch phase as long as possible. Hey, man, I'm a big social media buff. I stay on your social media, man. So I see you working those hands, man. You had some training in the boxing, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. So you got room. You got some bob and weave. Think about the mindset of when you're at running back and you're thinking this new offensive line, they have to put some different guys in different places. And so the normal guys that are in front of you, sometimes those holes don't always open up like they do in practice. And especially when it's game time, we're rearranging the offensive line in front of you. What happens with Le'Veon Bell, your mentality once the ball's in your hand, to keep you be a patient runner?
I'm honestly just be able to just had a mindset of just knowing I'm going to keep coming at you, and I'm not going to stop. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's the first quarter, second quarter, just constant dosage. So, play 6 or my 6th carry, it's going to feel exactly how I feel on my first carry. Then either like carry number 12, I want that to feel like my first carry. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like a body blow. Compared to boxing, it's like, all right, body blow, body blow, body blow. Now I'm going to come to your head and knock you out.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think, where we were sticking to is kind of running me and Clyde inside the tackles, and over the course of time, just kind of wore those guys down.
Gotcha, brother.
Le'Veon, I want to ask you about the third quarter, because it seemed like there was a more concerted effort to run the ball, and it seemed to flip the game. We're down 15-14. What about the running game at that point of the game and how it seemed to kind of give the game back to the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think our guys up front, kind of rhythm. Once Coach Reid does a great job of having a good feel for the game. So he kind of felt us wearing down on those guys over the course of the game, and he kind of stuck to it. The O-line, like the big guys up front, like running the ball. So he kept letting them kept feeding the big guys, and me, Clyde, and Dirty kept doing our thing.
13-1 and got to feel great. I don't know how many times in your career you was 13-1. I never.
First time.
Okay, first time.
First time.
Man, history is what it is here in the kingdom, man. It's the way that the season flows. Like we say, the ebbs and flows. I know as a young man and being a part of this Chiefs Kingdom team, you see you being a integral piece to this team, not only finishing the season strong, but into the playoffs. Can you explain to us some of the impact you're going to be to the team when we get to the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, whenever my number's called, I want to make sure I'm ready. Whatever the coaches ask me to do, I want to be available for them. And just be that teammate, they can always lean on whenever they need to. That's what I want to do.
Le'Veon, congratulations on the victory. It is awesome to have you in red and gold, brother. And we'll get it next week. Yes, sir. Le'Veon Bell, our special guest, and have a safe trip home.
Yes,
you know
what?
Go Chiefs. And what a pickup. We saw him, too. We just saw the highlight where they faked to him and then threw to him. It's a little bit of the Alvin Kamara going the other way. That's where he is. He had 189 yards against the Saints as a receiver back in his Steeler days. So it just tells you how much of an impact he can have in the passing game.
Lev Bell is always multi-versatile. He can hit you from the backfield, but also can go out and be a third wideout for your team. He's run some precise routes. He has butter soft hands. And with a quarterback like Pat Mahomes that can keep so many guys in your route tree alive throughout the possession, throughout the snap. I mean, it's a dream to have a guy with that kind of skill set in our backfield, in our running back room, especially as we see sometimes the running back positions numbers get low, and you got to have a guy next man up where you don't lose a beat.
Yeah, you mentioned the butter soft hands, but I loved your question about the boxing because he's a guy that can hit you with the knockout punch. I've seen it out here on this field against us, right? Many times. But now with the injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and we know Darrell Williams can play. Yep. We'll get Darwin Thompson back this week probably from his illness. But the fact that you now have a guy, he loves December. If you go back and look at Le'Veon Bell's Decembers in his past, this is when he takes it up a notch. And that boxing mentality, he comes for the 12th round knockout.
Well, he knows how to finish a fight. He knows how to finish strong. He's a guy, for his whole career, he's been a guy, like he says, the first carry looks like his 12th carry, looks like the 20th carry. And some of the games we've seen him as an opponent, it's those late second half, fourth down runs that when you need a stop, you need one more possession, you're within a score of them, and you needed to stop him. They keep giving him the ball, and he just gets enough yards. You saw on a couple carries, he needed that first down to get us in first and goal. He got exactly the amount of yards, got down to keep the chains going, to keep the clock going. So he's just a true professional, man. It's a blessing to have a guy like that a part of our team.
I started the radio broadcast saying this is Clint Boyer. He recently retired as the NASCAR driver. He's a huge Chiefs fan. He was on the pole position 4 times. The reason I said that, the Chiefs are trying to get to that AFC pole position, the only bye available in the AFC. Let's look at the playoff picture now after the kind of smoke clears, at least for the most of this weekend. And the Chiefs still have work to do. At 13-1, 8-0 on the road, it tells you just how strong the AFC is this year because they don't have the pole position yet. They've got to win next week against an Atlanta team that was cruising against Tampa Bay. They're up 24-7. I think they're going to clock Tampa Bay, and they lose the game.
How many times have you seen Atlanta do this? I mean, I think they start in week 1 against Dallas and week 4 against another team, against Minnesota. 2 or 3 times they up by 17 points, and somehow Atlanta finds a way to pull Atlanta and lose the game. And they did the same thing against Tampa Bay. Just another way of, we talk about how precious it is to win in the NFL and how you capture and you hold these wins so dearly. And sometimes they don't all, each quarter doesn't unfold the way you want. Some, like Coach Reid said, some snaps you want back, some things you want to do differently. But to get away on the road with another win, we say 8-0 on the road, this team, and the opponents we've played, when we talk about this 8-0, it's not just a bunch of cupcakes. It's not a bunch of sub-500 teams. The Chiefs' schedule has been full of playoff-bound teams. And for us to be in Week 14, 13-1, Week 13, be 13-1, it's amazing.
You go down the line. Dolphins will probably make the playoffs. Ravens might make the playoffs. They're surging. The Bills already won the division. The Bucs are trying to make the playoffs. The Saints are going to win the NFC South. I mean, your non-division road games are all playoff teams. Or if they don't make it, they're barely not going to make it in. that just blows your mind to go 8-0 against that competition.
And that's why whenever we're talking about teams and matchups, I hate getting in discussion sometimes about statistics. Where do a defense rank, offensive rank? Because those rankings can be based off of your opponents.
Yeah.
If you're not playing any of the best teams, then yeah, you can have the number 2 defense. You can have the number 5 scoring defense. And guess what? If you're playing against some really high-powered offenses, then you might end up being in the middle of the statistics as far as ranking. Our team, we come out with one thing. We want to win the ball game. And I think we've done that at a high level each and every week.
All right, let's talk about Travis Kelce here, because what was overlooked in that sprint option pitch, you were talking about pitch relationship, was Kelce's block. Because it was a great job by Patrick. It was also a great job by Le'Veon to keep that pitch relationship. But Kelce was great again today in this game. He didn't get over 100 yards, but it felt like it, because it felt like he had 200 yards in weight on him to make these plays. These were big-time plays.
Man, first downs, and then a touchdown. You see him on a little poop pass, the quick scoop pass to score the touchdown. But he's so consistent. He's a factor in every game he's been all season long. One of the most impactful and consistent weapons of any team. So when we talk about somebody who's nominated or needs to be nominated and talked about as far as Offensive Player of the Year, Kelce in fuego needs to be talked about. He's definitely one of the most dominant threats and weapons in the NFL this year.
And most of these plays are when the Chiefs need it the most. There's the shovel pass for the 2-point conversion, but the Chiefs were gasping many times in these. A lot of these third down conversions were him. This play that was a wounded duck going to the sideline. I'm thinking, man, I hope that's not picked. What, Kelce shows up and gets a first down. And then this play is an alley-oop kind of play. But these were time after time. This basically won the game. But it's not just catching the ball and getting a bunch of stats. It's when and how he's catching it and what it leads to. I mean, he's just having he's on another planet. Yep. He's in another galaxy. Don't compare any other tight ends to him who's played before. Not this season.
And we see the ones he actually catches on the highlight film, but it's the plays that he's not even catching the ball when he's being double covered, tripled, he's being chucked at the line. He takes so much attention from the rest of the other players, it allows the other guys to make big plays. And that's one of the things I think when people look at the highlight film, sometimes you don't see that when you're talking about Kelce's highlight reel. It's some of the plays that he doesn't even catch the ball that needs to be in that highlight field because he's creating so much opportunity, so much air for other players to work in.
And I could also make a highlight tape this year of his blocking.
Definitely.
This is the best year he has had blocking. And many times he has to do it in space. Sure, he's an inline blocker sometimes, but those space blocks he has to make, like that one on that sprint option, are easily taken for granted.
Taking a good tight end and making him great, what he told us 2 seasons ago was attention to detail. And blocking is one of those details. First downs conversions, one of those details. Possessing the ball control, right? Ball security is one of those details. He's checked all those boxes, and now he's really taking himself to just the next level as far as being, like I said, a Player of the Year candidate.
Chiefs win at 32-29. Let's go back to the podium.
Yes. I was glad, the coaches and, my teammates kind of looked at me for to close the game, and glad I was able to go out there and do it. Those guys up front did a great job today. We was challenged with a good defensive front, so those guys handled it well. It was a great team effort today.
The next is Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Le'Veon, sort of related. These are very related, actually. You guys had some success in short yardage. It seemed like, I don't have the numbers in front of me. It just seemed like you guys were more successful in those situations. Curious what you attribute that to, and also sort of you just mentioned the tough defensive front. What's required when you face a unit like that?
Attitude, obviously knowing going into a game like that, those guys can be tough up front. They're really stingy in the run game. I think the week before they kind of gave up a couple 100-yard runners. So we knew they would come in with the motivation to stop the run and not allow that to happen again. And we had to come in with the right mindset, knowing that we got to get the job done wherever we need, whether we got to throw it, whether we got to run it. Today, really in the second half, we was called upon to run the ball a lot. I think the guys up front did a tremendous job off the ball and creating lanes for me, 25 and 31, to get in some lanes and make some plays.
We're going to take 4 more going right down the line.
The entire game. They got better as the game went on. Like you said, the guys stepped up and really stepped into their roles and found a way to get us across the finish line. And so, obviously that's a really good defensive line, and I thought they did a good job of keep battling the entire game.
It looks like Le'Veon's going to play a bigger part in what's going on here now because of Clyde's injury. How do you feel like he's fit in during the first, 6-8 weeks that he's been with the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, he's been a great addition. I mean, you've seen him in spurts. He's been getting in, making plays happen when he's in the football game. And, obviously we're hoping Clyde gets back quickly. But I think we have good guys in that running back room that will step up and really embrace that role.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Patrick, after the game, the NBC camera, the broadcast camera caught you and Drew Brees having a moment on the field there. And what was said between the two Texan kids there, and then how much encouragement did he give you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a bunch of respect. I mean, obviously, I watched Drew growing up. I have the same financial advisor as Drew does now, and I've met him over the years, just got different things, and he spoke advice to me. And so for me, just showing him the ultimate respect. I mean, he's one of the best to ever do it. He's still doing it at a high level, and so it was a great game. And obviously, we came out with the win, but it was a great game by him as well.
Let's go next to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Patrick, probably feels like a long time ago now, but you had the crazy third down conversion to Sammy early in the game, eventually led to a touchdown. Can you walk us through that play and what you saw on that one?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of them. That one, definitely, Sammy was kind of my last read, and I got flushed out. I was running out to the right, thought I could get the edge, realized I wasn't going to be able to get there, and then I stopped and stepped up, and Sammy kept working. I was able to get him the ball. I mean, that's another play. I mean, you see those offensive linemen. I mean, they continue to work when I'm scrambling, doing all my different stuff out there. And you got to have guys that are going to continue to battle the entire game. And so it was a great job of them and a great job of the receivers and Sammy getting open.
Let's go next to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Hey there, Patrick. The goal line pass to Travis, it looked like kind of a chest pass there. I was wondering the origins of that play. I know you watch a lot of college football. It looked like those college kids yesterday winning the Dr. Pepper thing at halftime.
Yeah, we actually ran it versus Denver on that Monday Night Football game a couple years back, and Kelsey got in on that one as well. And it takes a lot of practice. I mean, as far as getting the blocking right that quickly, finding a way to kind of push it in there. And I thought the guys did a great job of giving me a lane to throw. I got it to Kelsey, and he punched it in there.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, congrats on the win. We've seen in the past few weeks that rather than maybe like old school conventional football, rather than running it with the small lead, Andy's giving you the ball and says, go win the game. I know you have interactions like with the LeBron James, for example, but how much do you relish that trust and opportunity to go win it?
Yeah, I think it's just trusting the entire offense. I mean, not only me giving me the chance to throw, but giving those guys chances to win. A lot of times in those 4-minute type situations late in the game with those small leads, you're getting straight man-to-man coverage. And so when they're bringing their linebackers up and trying to stop the run, we got to have guys win. And you see Travis win today, and you've seen guys win over the last few weeks. And so we got to be able to run the ball, obviously. And I thought we did a great job of that all game today, especially at the end there. And then whenever we get the opportunity to throw the ball, we got to execute.
Got time for 3 quick ones, guys, starting with Blair. Go ahead, Blair.
Hey, Patrick, 8-0 on the road this year could be the last road game you play for quite a while. What are the keys to this team winning away from Arrowhead?
Yeah, it's a mentality. I think it's all mentality. You have to come in with the right mentality that you're going to fight. You know it's going to be a dogfight no matter where you're playing at. And we do a good job of that, of coming in with that mindset, knowing not everything's going to be pretty. You're not going to get exactly what you want every single play, but stepping up offense, defense, and special teams and coming together to find a way to win.
Let's go next to Vahe Gregorian. Go ahead, Vahe.
Hey, Patrick. Just by now, you guys have won, I think, the last 6 games by a total of 23 points. And I'm just wondering at what point that starts to feel like a habit that is a strength instead of feeling like you just wish you had a bigger cushion.
I mean, I've always felt like it was a strength. I mean, you got to be able to win games in this league. I mean, that's it at the end of the day. I mean, it looks cool and it feels awesome to win by 20, 30 points. But when you have a team that can find a way to win with their offense, the defense, and special teams every single game and find a way to win no matter what the score is, those are the teams that make runs at the end of the year.
We'll go last. Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick. Just a couple weeks ago, we were talking about your red zone struggles. You guys scored on your first 4 trips to the red zone tonight. What stood out about your success there today?
Yeah, I mean, it's just execution. Being able to run the ball and then executing. And I thought we did a good job of both of those in the red zone today. And when you play defense like that, you know there are going to be few opportunities, and you have to make sure you execute when you're down there. And so I thought the guys did a great job of executing the game plan. The coach, the enemy, and Coach Reid called great plays, and we ran the ball whenever we needed to.
Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Hopefully that back's okay. It looks like he's all right. He took a real shot. All right, we're getting it ready. We're getting it ready. It's not a hockey game going on back here. The Kansas City Scouts aren't back in the NHL, but they're getting it ready, and here's why. Next 2 at home. Hopefully the Chiefs can take care of business, get a bye. That means they would have 2 home games to get to Tampa. They would never have to leave Arrowhead Stadium. It starts next week with Atlanta. What about closing out strong at home?
If one term we need to all in the kingdom pray about is controlling your own destiny. That phrase right there is something that should be ringing loud and proud all throughout Kansas City. If our team can do what this needs to be done, win 2 more games, we control our own destiny, we claim the #1 seat, we get a bye, and like you said, home field advantage all the way to the road to Tampa, which is the Super Bowl.
Even a chance next week to wrap up that #1 seed against the Atlanta Falcons.
Love it.
He is Shawn Barber. I'm Mitch Holthus, voice of the Chiefs. Chiefs win it over the Saints 32-29 to remarkably go 8-0 on the road, and probably 6 of those 8 against playoff teams. Thanks for joining us, and stay. We'll be with you all week long to get you ready for this big homestand coming up. Thanks for joining us on Chiefs Rewind.
Chiefs Rewind is brought to you by Ford, the official car and truck of the Kansas City Chiefs, and by Community America Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.